In the mid-1990s, Britain's railways were changing forever. British Rail was being broken up, sold off, and franchised to private companies. And on the East Coast Main Line, one of the most prestigious routes in the country, a brand new operator was preparing to take over. Its name sounded historic, its image looked regal, and its ambitions were enormous. This was the Great North Eastern Railway, better known simply as GNER. GNER was born out of rail privatisation after the InterCity East Coast franchise was awarded in 1996 to Sea Containers, a transport and shipping company based overseas. From the very start, the East Coast was seen as one of the prizes of the new railway era. The line had been recently electrified, it had Britain's fastest trains, and it carried famous services linking London with Yorkshire, the North East, and Scotland. GNER began running trains on the 28th of April 1996. It inherited InterCity 225 electric trains and InterCity 125 high-speed trains, but it promised to do more than simply maintain the status quo. GNER pledged better service, refurbished trains, improved stations, and a return to pride on the East Coast. Image mattered. GNER's dark blue livery, red lining and heraldic crest were deliberately chosen to echo the golden age of the old LNER. It was nostalgia by design, and passengers noticed. Customer service was widely praised, onboard catering improved, and stations along the route were upgraded. For a while, the East Coast once again felt special. At its peak, GNER operated the fastest scheduled passenger train in Britain, with London to York services averaging over 110 miles per hour. Passenger numbers grew, and the company earned a reputation for quality that many still remember fondly. GNER also dreamed big. Plans were announced for new tilting trains capable of running at up to 140 miles per hour, cutting journey times between London and Scotland dramatically. Orders were hinted at, expectations were raised, but the trains never arrived. Instead, GNER experimented by leasing Class 3 7-3 regional Eurostars. Trains originally built for Channel Tunnel services. They looked futuristic, but they were limited in speed and range, and never quite suited the East Coast route. It was an early sign that ambition was running ahead of reality. Then came the events that changed everything. In October 2000, a GNER InterCity 225 derailed at Hatfield due to a catastrophic rail failure. GNER was not at fault, but the consequences were severe. Public confidence collapsed overnight, and emergency speed restrictions crippled the railway network. Just as recovery began, tragedy struck again. In February 2001, a GNER train was involved in the Great Heck crash after colliding with a vehicle that had left the motorway. 10 people lost their lives. Once again, GNER was blameless, but the travelling public was deeply shaken. Long-distance rail travel across Britain saw revenues fall dramatically. Despite this, GNER was awarded the East Coast franchise again in 2005. But the new deal was far harsher than before. Instead of receiving government subsidy, GNER now had to pay enormous premiums to the state, based on forecasts that assumed passenger numbers would rise relentlessly for years to come. It was a gamble, and it failed. Rising electricity prices, competition from airlines, the impact of global events, and pressure from faster West Coast services all hit revenue. Behind the scenes, Sea Containers itself was drowning in debt. By 2006, the parent company was in serious financial trouble. In November of that year, Sea Containers entered bankruptcy protection in the United States. With that, GNER's future became untenable. In December 2006, the government stripped GNER of the East Coast franchise. The blue trains kept running for another year under a temporary management contract, but the end was inevitable. On the evening of the 8th of December 2007, the final true GNER service departed London King's Cross for Newcastle. The following day, the East Coast passed to a new operator. After 11 years, GNER was gone. Today, GNER is remembered with genuine affection. For many passengers, it represented the best of rail privatisation, stylish, customer-focused, and proud of its heritage. But it also became a warning about overbidding, unrealistic forecasts, and the risks of mixing ambition with fragile finances. GNER didn't fail because it didn't care. It failed because it aimed too high in a system that punished risk. The blue era of the East Coast may be over, but for many, it's never been forgotten. If you enjoyed this journey through the rise and fall of GNER, please like, share and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you remember most about Britain's blue trains on the East Coast.